Well, g'day. I was out looking at the mailbox and I was pleasantly surprised to find this. I'd totally forgotten that this might be coming. So I had liaised with the guy from the Carthage Must Be Destroyed YouTube channel who has had a Kickstarter a few months back with some Greek shield decals or transfers, and they looked excellent. So I was chatting to him, trying to get my hands on them, and sure enough, here they have arrived. So he's done 4 sheets of shield transfers, and I think they're 2 varieties, and then not quite sure how the other 2 vary, but I don't think they're totally unique, but there's something slightly different about them compared to these 2. But anyway, these are the 2 that I've got, and you can see each one is absolutely chock full of different images and lots of versions of them. So if you count them up, there's 10 by 18, so 180 transfers per sheet, which is an enormous number. You know, way more than you get with some other companies like the Victrix ones, and some good ones I've got from Vidi and Vicky, but again they are small sheets compared to this enormous haul. So that's one big bonus with this. You see the ones on the right have multiple colors and sort of all ready to go, whereas the ones on the left are more just the silhouette, which apparently was often the case in the real historical shield decorations. I should just note that the guy from Carthage Must Be Destroyed actually has done a number of good YouTube videos demonstrating these and applying them and so on, but just to kind of point out some of the things that he mentioned. These white ones are transparent, so you can put them on any color you want, and obviously you'll have the color showing up through the white section. I think these ones might be the same. I'll have to get an idea, or maybe they're white to go on a dark shield. Now I'll do some test ones and show them a bit later. So you've got obviously some mythical things on this side predominantly, and real animals on that side. So what do we got? The chimeras, the gorgons here, sphinxes, hydras. Sure what these guys are. Sort of a horse head and then a water body. Minotaurs, some sort of, looks like a chicken with a human head. Griffins, horses there, all kind of griffin-like ones. This one's like half a horse, half a dolphin. Then you've even got some owls with spears, and then down the right side, obviously more earthly kind of images there. And then we've got all the animals here, so the owls and there's the lions, horses, swans, more horses, eagles, probably a griffin there, lots of chickens, they're always cool, roosters, deer, head of an ass, fish. Anyway, you can look through them, and then again they've got down the right side the more realistic rounded ones. So I'll put up a link to where you can actually buy these from and let you know the cost, and I'll get on and put some on some shields and see how they look. Right, I've done a few and they've come up very well, so I just wanted to go through a little bit of the process and what I found is really good with these shield transfers compared to some other ones. So just briefly show you the couple that I've done. So remember earlier some of the ones that look kind of grey, I was wondering whether they would be white once they're done, and they are. So that's turned out nicely on the brass shield. And then there's another guy that I put in. I've lost him now. Anyway, I'll show him in a minute. Oh, there he is, yeah. And he turns up, so that sort of gorgony funny face on this guy. So one advantage you can sort of see from this is the actual transfer is a little bit smaller than your average aspis, and that's handy because of the convex surface of the aspis. If it covers the whole surface of the shield, it's very hard to get on without ending up with sort of wrinkles and overlapping bits, as you can see a little bit on this one, which I think is from Black Flag. Flag company. Yeah, and this one goes right out to the edge, so you know you have no sort of margin for error, and you can't paint around it, or no room for creativity really. Whereas this one, yeah, it just takes up that central part of the shield, and you can paint the edges whatever colour you want. And I said earlier, there's no need to paint the face white as you have to with the Victrix ones. So just let me get those out of the way, and I'll actually just put one on, and I'll sort of go through some of the benefits as I do. So let's have a yellow shield here. I like to use this stuff micro set, and then once it's on for a bit, then you put a bit of the micro sol over it as well, and that helps to soften it and does help it conform to the shape of the shield, which does a pretty good job at getting rid of those little kinks in the side on bigger transfers, but not absolutely perfect. So let's get what would look good, probably a dark one on there, probably even just a plain dark one. I think I might go for a chicken. Hot box chicken. Let's get this guy. Now this is one of the big benefits. So some transfers, the whole sheet is one big transfer essentially, so you have to cut them out quite accurately, go right around them. But you'll notice with these guys that they're actually, the edge of the image is the edge of the transfer. So all you have to do is roughly cut it out like that, dunk it in water, and I've found that they are ready to go very quickly. Take about 30 seconds versus some of the other transfers, such as these ones from Relic, which are very nice, but they can take a couple of minutes of soaking, and also they're something about the adherence of them isn't quite as good, and I've had some of these sort of breaking apart when I've tried to put them on. Plus you've got to cut all the way around these awkward shapes to get them to fit on your shield properly, so they're a lot more tricky to deal with. Alright, that's probably long enough. I'll take him off, just dry it on a bit of a rag there, and let's see if it comes off easily. Bingo. Straight on. Just straighten him up a little bit. Right in the middle. And that's all you have to do. It looks great. So a little bit later I'll come back and put some of this micro sol on it, just to help it conform and adhere really well, and then I'll put a sort of a matte lacquer on it later on. I usually mix a tiny bit of shading with the lacquer, so it just helps to kind of, I'll show you later, but I think it improves the appearance quite nicely. So there's one. So that's the sort of standard bigger Aspis shield that a lot of plastic kits come with. Some of the metal ones, such as these foundry ones, are significantly smaller, so I was wondering whether they would work as well for these shield transfers. I think some will, and I think some will be a bit big. Let's just whack on a bit of that micro set again, and let's see if we can find a transfer that's going to fit with a nice small Aspis. So go for a colourful one. This time, what's the smallest colourful one? Maybe one of these, one of those sort of chalices might fit. One of these, something definitely going to be too big. That looks quite good, that little Pegasus there. I'm going to try him. Let's whack him in the water. See if that'll go nicely. That's going. Yes, I'll do a plain white one too here, and I'm going to put on this weird. I forgot to look up what this mythological creature is. It's like a chicken with a human head. I don't know what that is. Try that. I'll have that ready. Put a bit more of that micro set on there. Do a quick switch over, one in, one out. Out with Pegasus. Come on. I'll dry him off a bit on the rag. Yeah, let's see if he's not too big. Bingo, perfect. So that's another bonus with this big set. At least a significant number of them will be able to be used on these smaller aspis as well. Yeah, looks good. Let's see if the chicken man's ready. There you go. See how quick that is? Probably less than 30 seconds and they're ready to go. Just pop them in the middle. Cool. Was there anything else I had to tell you about these? I don't know. There's some other nice shield transfers by Vendi, Nvidia and Vicky, but again it has the problem it's got one big sheet, so you've got to actually cut accurately around the individual transfer that you want to use at any given time. And these Victrix ones are just a little bit bigger, so again they're not quite so versatile. So you see like the Gorgon face is about 70% as big as that. So yeah, just adds the versatility. The other thing is the cost. So these guys, you get 180 on a sheet, and they sell for about 15, a bit under 15 Canadian dollars. So they end up, one shield here would be about 5 or 6 on the ones from Carthage Must Be Destroyed. So they're excellent value for money. So the only thing against them would be if you didn't like the designs, but otherwise they're easy to use, they're versatile, and they're fantastic value for money. So I'm pretty impressed with them. I'll come back in a bit. We'll just do the final sort of, I'll put the micro sol on in a bit. I won't make you watch that. That's really dull action. And but I'll show you the lacquering with a little bit of contrast, and then we'll show the final result. All right, so I've done a whole lot of the shield transfers, and they're looking pretty good. They've had a day or two to dry, so they're solidly adherent. One thing you notice sometimes with some shields transfers, including these, is when you look at them closely, you can see really the edge of the shield transfer where it abuts the painted surface. So that's one of the bonuses of putting a layer of lacquer over it. You really sort of lose that that interface, and it looks a lot smoother, more realistic. So I'm going to use a bit of this stuff. There's lots of different ones available, but that seems to work, and I get that cheap, readily available nearby. So I'm going to put a bit of that in, and then I'm just going to add to that a tiny bit of any sort of dark shade. So this time I've got actually dark toned Army Painter 1. I'm just going to put a drop, probably one drop would be plenty in there, and then I'll mix that around a bit. And this will just kind of integrate the colours a bit, bring it all together, give it a little bit extra shading, and it'll look pretty good, I reckon. So let's try straight over the top, all of that. Not a huge amount, you don't want it sort of having big bubbles and ripples and stuff and pooling and so on, but that should do it, I'd say. So stick that one in the sun to dry, and let's do a whole set of them. So it only take me a few minutes to do all these, and then we'll give them a bit of time to dry, and I'll put them up with some figures and see how they look. So you can see that white one is a bit more, I don't know, it's a sort of blending the black and the white of grey, just gives a little bit of shading to the curvature of the aspis. Rooster. It is a matte one. I've got a gloss one as well, but I find generally the matte works better. If you've got metal parts, like say a straight bronze shield, like that one with the white snake on, I'll bring that up in a minute. I usually put this on initially, the matte one, and then if you want to really highlight a few areas, like say the top edge, you can go back once it's dry and put a little bit of the gloss over the key area that you want to be most shiny, most obvious. So you can see that whole shield is a bit too glossy, I reckon, now. So we'll dull it down with this matte and then decide later whether we add a tiny bit of gloss in certain areas. Alright, I'll just make you sit through a couple more of these and then we'll go off camera and do the rest. So you've seen some of the big ones, some of the little metal ones from Foundry. And I will be back very soon with the final demo. See what you think. See you then. Turntable time. Here they are. I won't talk too much to this. I'll just let you look at the shields themselves, but I'm pretty impressed with them. So I'll give these guys a little spin and then I'll put up a few more shields as well. There you are, the second batch. So just to recap, they're very versatile, they're great value for money, and they're easy to use. So really everything to like about these new Greek shield transfers from Carthage Must Be Destroyed, available on Etsy. And again, the link will be in the description below. Let me know if you get some, what you think of them. Alright, I'll be back. Like and subscribe, and feel free to make a comment. Catch you later.